Today you guys are going to look at section 4.5, which is on direct variation. And there's two things we need to know about direct variation. An equation is said to be a direct variation if it's in the form y equals m times x. So y equals mx, where your m is called your constant of variation. So as long as it's just a number and an x, then it's a direct variation. So if we look at example 1a, y equals 4x. It's a direct variation if it's in the form y equals mx, where m is a number that's called your constant of variation. So since these are the same form, then we can say that yes, it's a direct variation, and we know that our m is equal to 4. Okay, so if they look like they're in the same form, then it's a direct variation. If we look at 1b, we have negative 3x plus 5y equals 0. We need to see if it's a direct variation by getting it in the form y equals mx. So we need to solve for y. So in order to solve for y, the first thing we do is we're going to add 3x. We then get 5y equals 3x, because 0 plus 3x is 3x. The next step we have to do is we need to divide by 5. If I do that, then I get y equals 3 over 5x. So this is a direct variation, and my m, my constant of variation, is 3 over 5. Okay, we'll do one more. 2x plus y equals 10. We need to solve this for y to see if it's in the form y equals mx. Okay. So in order to do that, I'm going to subtract 2x from each side of my equation. So I end up with y equals 10 minus 2x. Since we have this 10 out front, we know that this is not a direct variation, so no. The next thing we need to figure out is how to find a direct variation from a table of values. So if we look at this table of values where x is 1, 3, and 5, and y is 6, 18, and 30, we know that it's a direct variation if your y over x is the same number. So I'm going to find my y over my x. My y is 6, my x is 1. 6 divided by 1 is 6. So I know my y over x from my first two values is 6. If I do that for the second one, 18 over 3, well, 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I get 6 for the second one. And then lastly, 30 divided by 5 is 6. So I get 6 for my third one. Since all of these are the same, then we say yes, it's a direct variation. And my constant of variation is 6. So if I look at 2b, I have 2, 4, and 8 for my x values, and negative 2, 0, and 4 for my y values. I'm looking to find my y over x. So if I start with my first values, negative 2 over 2. Well, negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So negative 1 is my first value. Y over x for my second value gives me 0 over 4. And 0 divided by 4 is 0. And then y over x for my third value gives me 4 over 8, which is 1/2 or 0.5. So since those are not the same values, then we say that it's not a direct variation. Alright, the last thing that we're going to look at is we're going to generate some values using the fact that we know that it's a direct variation. So we know that example 3 is a direct variation where when y is 6, x is 12, and then we want to figure out what y needs to be to make x 27. So we're going to use a proportion to figure this out. So I know that when y is 6, x is 12. Okay, and then I also know that we don't know what y is, but we know that when y is that value, x is 27. In order to solve a proportion, we need to cross multiply. So 6 times 27 is 162. And I know that 12 times y gives me 12y. The last step that I need to figure out in solving this for y is I need to divide both sides by 12. Divide this side by 12. So I end up with y equals 13.5. So y equals 13.5. We're going to do the same thing for the second example, example 3b. So I have y equals 4.5, then x is 0.5. If we don't know what y equals, then we know that x is 10. So I know that when y is 4.5, x is 0.5. And I know that when we don't know what y is, x is 10. We're again going to cross multiply, so 4.5 times 10 is 45. 0.5 times y is 0.5y. And then divide both sides by 0.5. And I know that y equals 90. So you guys are going to be looking at some various direct variation equations in your assignment today, and you're going to be solving them. You're going to be determining if they're direct variations from a table of values, and you're going to be finding some proportions. You're going to do page 263, 1 through 19.